Letter to a Pig is based on my personal experience as a young schoolgirl, an encounter I had with a Holocaust survivor while I was in school in a Holocaust Memorial Day, which happens annually every year in the public school system. And an unforgettable dream, or quite disturbing dream, I had afterwards. And the combination of both left me with many questions about this subject and about the subconscious level that these historical narratives affect, in a way, the identity and the perspective of the world, of the young generation. So it became eventually the urge for me to make this film and try to explain or show a little bit more the other side of the camera. Usually we see those stories and those narratives through the survivors and those who witness these atrocities, but we don't focus so much on the younger generation and those who receive those stories and how does this affect them. So for me this film is more in the perspective of the third generation to the Holocaust, but also in a larger scale, just how historical narratives and transmission of trauma can really affect our soul and our identities and our moral perspective. Yes. I'm using a mixed media technique that combines segments of live action footage with hand-drawn animation. This technique really allows me to play in the border between reality and imagination, or maybe memory and the subconscious, and to have some anchor points in realism, in realistic elements, which we have in video, but also to express something more from the inner world of the characters, how they feel and their process along the film or in a specific moment. And this kind of surreal combination and I would say hybrid between both, I think it's a good language for me to try to emphasize visually, but also emotionally, this notion of memory. So I used this in my previous film, and I developed this technique even further in Letter to a Pig, to try to bring even more the materiality and the paper world and the notion of the human hand mistake and the messiness and emotions that comes with painting as well. So I think in a film that is actually speaking about the fact that there is no absolute black and white, good and bad, or us against them, victim, victimizer, it was interesting for me to put this black and white in front, and also in the notion of memory and how we used to see the past in black and white footage. But then the moments where we appear the pink is the moments where I wanted to emphasize the duality of this color that for me in this context of the film expresses the more human and compassionate side on the one hand, when the old man is reading the letter, when we are feeling affection and we are blushing and blood runs through our veins, this is where we see more pink, and we have this pink in our skin and also in the animal side, but also when we are angry and we're upset and we become a little bit like animals ourselves. So we have this kind of duality between the human nature or the more animal aspect of it, and to put the pink in the film in specific moments to emphasize this duality, I thought it was good just to give the pink the role to say this, to express that. There's also this notion of similarity between the human and the animal in the film, and the thin border, the moral thin border between I would say animalism and the extremes of human nature, where we can get really extreme. So also the pink is really implying this kind of thin border when we can become this or that sometimes. I mean, the process of the music was, the composer is Pierre Obelkamp, which is a wonderful composer, and Erez Zainishavit is the sound designer. And we worked a lot on the arc of the film to emphasize in different places the climax part and the more quiet part, but also where things repeats, you know, where, because the story it's a rolling story from past to present times in the classroom into the subconscious. So things are like a little bit repeating themselves, so mirroring in a way, and in a broken way. So to find some kind of melodies that you can see in the beginning of the film, but they evolve somehow into the subconscious of the children in a very delicate way, but also to make you think how these emotions can also roll into another person that was not really there, but they inherit something from it in the emotional level. And also it was interesting to figure out which instruments fit each character. For example, for the girl, that she's more dreamy and delicate, so she gets the flute instrument, and the pig that has this piano with texture, like the vibration of the acrylic. The many aspects of it are like many layers inside the film. All together, I think, brings this emotional impact, and it was really important for me because half of the film stopped to be in a narrative, like there's no more talking, it becomes more and more abstract, so the music have even bigger role in it to lead the audience through an emotional journey. So I think, yeah, Pierre did a wonderful job on that. I was really super happy to work with him.